Our fantastic teachers do an amazing job day in and day out, and I'm proud to say that we've increased the number of teachers by 24,000 since 2010. We're bolstering teacher numbers through the highest pay award for 30 years, providing generous bursaries worth up to £27,000 and our levelling up premium worth up to £3,000 a year each year for the 5 years for maths, physics, chemistry and computing teachers. The early careers framework is really focused, it's just been introduced actually last year, and it's really focused on trying to make sure that we support teachers, particularly in the first 5 years, to make sure that we retain more teachers. The figures show that the risk of retention is actually in the first 0 to 5 years, so we put a lot of work and effort into making sure that we support teachers more during that period. It was a manifesto commitment to raise the starting salaries. It is £28,000 this year, and it will be £30,000 next year, from September next year, in line with our manifesto commitment. And yes, I can confirm that the teachers' pension contribution, the employers' contribution, is 23.6%, I think. So it is considerably higher than many in the private sector. To make sure that we have bursaries to attract teachers in particular, particularly those subjects where there's a lot of competition for those skills. And I actually am hoping to actually increase the routes, because we are looking to have an apprenticeship for teaching at undergraduate, so that people who need to earn and learn can also be attracted into teaching. We have introduced a bursary of up to £27,000 for all maths teachers and also many science teachers. Since 2010, we have doubled Labour's offer from 15 hours to 30 hours of free childcare for 3 to 4 year olds. We've also introduced 15 hours free childcare a week for disadvantaged 2-year-olds, and parents on universal credit can claim back up to 85% of their childcare costs. So we do have a £1.2 million childcare choices campaign to increase the usage of those. But we will go further, and we are looking at all options to improve the affordability and availability of childcare and, crucially, outcomes for children. We're always focused on what more we can do. We obviously have pupil premium funding, but we also have school uniform guidance. Obviously, we have the highest number of children benefiting from free school meals as well, and in deprived areas, breakfast clubs, which we have introduced. But of course, we all know that economically times are tough, which is why we're very much focused on trying to get inflation down, and the Prime Minister's pledge to halve inflation. The Ofsted data shows that the number of childcare places has remained broadly stable at 1.3 million since August 2015. But at the spending review 2021, we announced additional funding of £160 million in 22-23 and £180 million in 23-24 and £170 million 24-25, and that's compared to the 2021-22 financial year. And this will allow local authorities to increase hourly rates paid to childcare providers. Family hubs are one-stop shops that make it easier for families to get the support they need, and I strongly support them. The government is investing £300 million in the Start for Life and Family Hubs programme, and 75 local authorities will begin to open hubs later this year. In December, I announced a further 239 schools that will benefit from large-scale rebuilding and refurbishment projects as part of our school rebuilding programme, which will transform 500 schools across the country. Mr Speaker, as Conservatives, we're not only investing in the next generation's future, but of that of generations to come. On top of this, we have allocated over £13 billion to improving school buildings since 2015, including £1.8 billion this year. Across the world are facing global inflationary pressures. The Prime Minister has pledged to halve inflation, and school funding will increase by £2 billion next year, as well as the year after that. This will be the highest real terms spending on schools in history, totalling £58.8 billion by 2024-25. In 2010, school funding stood at £35 billion, so we will be delivering a 68% increase in cash terms. The government's also announced further support for parents worth £26 billion next year. Later this month, along with my honourable friend, the Children and Families Minister, I will be announcing our comprehensive plans to reform children's social care. Soon after, we will return to bring forward our transformational improvement plans to support children with special educational needs. In February, I hope members will join me in celebrating National Apprenticeship Week. And in April, our schools will have something to celebrate, as they will be receiving their funding, which will include the extra £2 billion uplift announced at the Autumn Statement, seeing overall funding rise by 15% in just 2 years. We are investing more in our schools than ever before. By 2024-25, it will be £58.8 billion, the highest real-term spending in history.